So this thing is constantly self-mending, and I want us to get in harmony with it. I want us to get in harmony with all the different things that life sends us and start reframing them. And that is where we can be powerful. We cannot control all the different things that life is going to send towards us. But we can control how we frame it and how we react to it. That is somewhere where we can be powerful. And the first thing we need to do is acknowledge that all the reactions in us that go off are ours. No one made us feel that way. If someone came, this is the proof, if somebody came into the room now and started being incredibly, unbelievably racist and violently, fucking niggers, I can't, those nigger bastards, what the fuck are they doing in London? I might sit here and go, oh, brilliant, have a real emotional, sort of triggered meltdown reaction. Did you hear what he said? And you might see this person and go, God, that guy's unbelievably racist, but not have a huge emotional reaction, meltdown and freak out that I'm having. The exact same person walked through the door, the exact same stimulus came in, I'm having a total emotional breakdown, meltdown, you're not. What does that tell us? It tells me that the potential for that meltdown, that reactivity, is in me, it's not in her. And therefore, it's mine. It's uniquely mine, and I'm the only one that can do anything about that. No matter how wrong that person was, it's still my reaction going off in me that is my responsibility to deal with. Can you really take that on? No matter how much they hurt you, no matter how much they said they wouldn't, but they did it anyway, no matter how, unfaithful or whatever, no matter how wrong that person was, the feeling that erupts in me is uniquely mine. And it's made of this upbringing I've had, of all the pain I didn't express, all the fear I tried to escape from, all the things in me that aren't welcome, all the ways I wasn't loved, all the ways I don't love myself, the whole mess of my life until now, of all the ways I've been hiding and suppressing and unloved and scared, and all the incorrect conclusions I drew as a child and the violences I had on me, made me react that way. So I've got this huge ball of reactiveness in me. You've each got one in you, but they all get uniquely triggered by different things. They are our responsibility. We want to live a less triggered life. We don't want to be yanked left and right by the last idiot that crosses our path all day. Because of this huge reactiveness we have in us, this hard wiring of the body to self-mend itself isn't only limited to the skin and the bones and the bacteria. It knows that we've each got this huge lump of unprocessed, overreactive, emotional, constipated gunk in us. So of course, the genius body that it is, the genius system that it is, wants to discharge it. How do you discharge that huge accumulation of emotional stuff? You have to feel it. Whether you have to grieve and weep for the times you didn't weep before, or you need to rage and get into a place where you can have a safe place to do that where you never did before. It has to be expressed. It's got two ways it can go. All this emotional, reactive stuff, it can go two places. It can either be expressed out in a safe for everyone and yourself way, or it can go deeper in and turn into cancer. Those are your two choices. Whatever doesn't get expressed, that is dark, that is hidden away, if you bury it too deep, it's alive, it's part of you. And life doesn't just go away, it grows, moss and teeth and, whatever doesn't find its way out is going to find its way in. So we need to start finding ways to discharge all this constipated reactive stuff. And this part of reframing is fundamental. Because when we look at the things that hurt us as, oh, I'm a victim, I've got to get that away, make it stop, we will do anything to not feel that feeling. It feels so excruciating when we get triggered. We will do anything to not feel it. We'll manipulate that person, we'll fight that person, condemn that person, get on the phone, talk about that person. We'll do anything to fight the external, battle the external, control the external, to not feel that thing, rather than, which is what we're doing now for the rest of our lives, the skillful warrior, instead of totally concerning with who did it to me and why they're wrong and I can't, and stopping it from happening next time, instead, we turn our fascination round And our fascination is now inside. We turn our fascination inside and go, wow, what is that huge reaction going on? I wonder if I can dare to feel that. When we do that, we process and discharge today's little thimbleful of emotional constipated shit that we've been carrying. Our life is trying to process it all. So every day, it gives us some fucking idiot to come and trigger it. And we can do two things. We can fight that person, which is the idiot victim way to go about it. Or we can go, oh, I'm totally fucking triggered. Oh, it's today's cup full of shit. Okay, I'm going to go inside and start breathing gently in it, loving it, dare to feel it. And when we dare to feel it, and the Taoists, the ancient Chinese, have a practice called inner and outer dissolving. The Tibetan Buddhists have a thing called Tonglen. There's all kinds of ways of doing it, and you're going to learn it this weekend, is how to become fascinated with what just erupted in me, not constantly in rejection of it. Get this. When stuff comes up in it, we reject it. We fight, we do anything to not feel it. But what we're doing when we do that is we're actually abandoning ourselves. We're saying, no, these feelings aren't okay. I need to make it so that I don't feel it. We're saying to our wounded inner child or whoever's in there feeling the pain, your feelings aren't okay. We need to make it stop. And in that way, we're constantly abandoning ourselves. We're going through our lives terrified of getting abandoned. We're abandoning ourselves every single time we take a pill to not feel, run to an addiction to not feel, fight you to make you never do it again to not feel, be right where you're wrong and blame you to not feel, get someone else to agree with me about that to not feel. All the time we're doing that, we're abandoning ourselves. The new practice, which is what hugely this weekend is about turning our fascination inside and going, whoa, that's a huge reaction. I want to fucking kill him. That's huge. Okay, let's breathe. And you go and be with it. And if you're willing to actually breathe around it and be the space around it, and don't worry, we're going to be more specific about this later. When you're willing to be the space around what and be fascinated and dare to feel it, it dissolves a little bit and you're powerful. So you can meet the challenging people and situations two ways. You can say, no, 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 and it keeps coming back. That's why you get the same shit day after day after day. You can say, no, 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 no. Or you can go, yes, what's life giving me today? This doesn't feel good. This needs to move. And that's what self-love is. If anyone's wondering about what self-love is, you can't love anyone till you love yourself. I don't know, what does that mean? I bought some chamomile tea. I had a massage. What self-love really means is being willing to feel your feelings, even the uncomfortable ones. We've got a culture of only running towards the comfortable and pushing away the uncomfortable, definitely. If you have a headache, take a pill. Doesn't feel nice, go somewhere else. Constantly pushing away the uncomfortable. It's an incorrect myth we've all been sold. Because in the uncomfortable is the vulnerability where we need to reach out to other people. It creates intimacy. In the uncomfortable, we get great illuminations about ourselves. In the uncomfortable, we get incredible compassion for other people that are feeling it too. Suddenly we're humbled and we're like, wow, this is tough. The uncomfortable, the dark nights of the soul, they have incredible treasure in there for us. But we're constantly pushing them away. The new way, which is what this weekend is hugely about, is instead of constantly pushing away the uncomfortable, when it erupts in us, when we feel triggered, and we've each got our unique lump of constipated emotional shit being processed, whenever it goes off in us, we go, that's a big one, fucking hell. And you take space from the person that annoyed you because you're not going to make any sense to them while you're triggered. Go and deal with your trigger. Go and love it a bit. Be with it. Dare to feel it. Dare to feel it. Be willing to feel it. There's a whole chapter. I've just written a book and there's a whole big chapter called Willing to Feel. Can we be willing to feel the uncomfortable as well as the comfortable? That is the million-dollar question. When we can, we become incredibly powerful. Because if you're willing to feel what doesn't feel comfortable, then when someone comes and pisses you off, instead of going into battle with them, you use it to discharge today's cup full of shit, and you're one cupful lighter that day. So it's all about how you frame it. Like Gabrielle Roth used to say, it takes immense discipline to be a free spirit. What does she mean when she says that? She means it takes discipline to dare to feel that shit and own it and go, that's mine. No matter how wrong they were, what just erupted in me is mine, my responsibility. Doesn't matter how wrong they were. Like Pema Chodron says, if someone comes up and fires an arrow into your shoulder, doesn't matter how wrong they were, you're the one that's still got to go to the hospital to get the arrow taken out. No matter how wrong they were, what goes off in you, what hurts in you is your responsibility. So we have to find techniques to be willing and dare to feel that stuff. But when we do it, we're powerful. The old way we used to do it, difficult people in situations, challenging people in situations, I'm a victim, it's all just too much, it's putting me down, it's squashing me, it's exhausting me. But when you look at it the way I'm describing it, when you look at every one of those things as an opportunity, as a gift, even though it didn't feel good, as a gift to discharge today's cup full of shit, these twats that cross our path, these challenging people and situations, all they really are is walking laxatives. That's right. The people that annoy you in your life, they are walking laxatives to help you loosen up that stuff, to feel it fully, and then it's gone. Feel it fully, and then it's gone. Feel it fully, and you become less and less and less reactive in the areas where you're willing to feel it. So life itself is constantly sending us opportunities, often cloaked in disaster, but opportunities for us to free ourselves. And the moment we do that, we become the incredible, creative, juicy beings that we are. You don't need to come to a workshop like this to put your creative genius in. Your creative genius is already in there. It's just hidden behind all this reactive, lack of permission, no I couldn't, that pisses me off, that doesn't feel comfortable. Our addiction to our tiny comfort zone is the only thing in the way. When they brought the rock with Michelangelo's David sculpture, he said, when they brought me the sculpture, I could see the David sculpture, I could see them right in the middle of it. All I had to do was move the excess rock out of the way. That's what we're doing this weekend. We are in the rock dissolving business. And the one skill we need to cultivate to bring this all, well, how the fuck do we do this? The one skill we need to bring together to do this is the ability to pause and listen. Not react and do and straight in there, to stop. Anytime something happens, stop. Be intimate enough with ourselves to listen, and then we'll know what we have to dissolve. We know the truth of the situation. If we can stop and listen, we will know, oh, maybe that's this, oh, maybe that's that. We need to give ourselves a pause, not go straight into reaction. And that's the much more feminine part of ourselves. The masculine in each of us, men and women, the masculine and feminine principle in each of us is I'm going to describe like this. The masculine in us is the one that does, that penetrates, that goes out into the world, that makes calls, that builds things, that takes action and goes outwards. The feminine part of us listens, is impacted, is penetrated, is moved, is melted. And we don't feel quite as safe in that as we do in the doing, and I'll do this, and he annoyed me, so I pick up the phone and solve the problem, and we're very masculine with it all. We don't stop and listen and go, oh, what does that feel like? What can I listen to in that? What do I need? That's the feminine part. And that's what we really drastically need to cultivate in our culture and in this room, is we're relying on the masculine. We've been taught in schools academically only about the masculine, solve the problem, think it through, do this, do that. We're very solution and linear oriented. But we're not very listening and letting it talk to us, receiving oriented. And that's where huge amounts of the gifts of life are, when we pause and listen. So that is a big part of this weekend, is turning on what we call on these workshops full body listening. Your whole body, your gut instinct, your feeling of creepiness when you walk into your body is trying to communicate to you all the time where you're stuck, where you need to move, where you need to love yourself, when you need to take space. I want you all this weekend to turn on your full body listening right now. Your whole body is an incredibly sophisticated giving and receiving information device. Feel your whole body. Not just the head where it all goes on, and the chatting and the thinking and the talking and the looking and the listening. All the way through your body, it's trying to communicate to you. And when we check in with the whole body, we get all the data we need, but it takes pausing and listening to do it. So we're going to take a short break now for 15 minutes. And after that, we're going to jump straight into some exercises and some full body listening. Okay? Taking a short break, 10-15 minutes, starting now.